Good morning, and welcome to your daily roundup of the latest headlines from the United States and Canada on this November 7th, 2025. We're diving deeper into the stories that matter most today, starting with the escalating impacts of the U.S. government shutdown, now in its fourth day, as President Trump ramps up pressure on Senate Republicans for a bipartisan funding deal to avoid what he called catastrophic economic bleeding. In a fiery White House address late yesterday, Trump warned that the impasse, sparked by disputes over disaster relief and border security funding, could siphon off up to $10 billion daily from the economy, furloughing over 800,000 federal workers and stalling everything from national park operations to veterans benefits processing. The human toll is mounting, with reports of food banks in major cities like Washington, D.C., and Atlanta seeing a 30% surge in demand as families scramble amid uncertainty. Compounding the chaos, the Federal Aviation Administration has enforced emergency flight reductions of up to 10% across 40 major airports effective 6 a.m. Eastern, targeting bottlenecks at JFK in New York, O'Hare in Chicago, and LAX in Los Angeles. This means an estimated 5,000 flights could face delays or cancellations today alone, stranding travelers and hammering airlines' bottom lines by millions. On the legal battlefield, a federal appeals court in Manhattan has revived former President Trump's long-shot push to federalize his New York hush money trial, remanding the case back to the district court for a fresh review of venue arguments. Trump's lawyers claim the state prosecution is politically motivated, potentially delaying the trial past the holidays and into 2026, while prosecutors decry it as a stalling tactic amid his ongoing influence in GOP circles. In aviation tragedy, the NTSB's preliminary report on Tuesday's UPS cargo plane crash at Louisville's Muhammad Ali International Airport paints a grim picture. The Boeing 767 plummeted shortly after takeoff due to possible engine failure, erupting into flames that claimed 12 lives, including 2 pilots and 10 ground crew, and injured 18 others. Investigators are now probing maintenance logs and weather factors, with the site still smoldering as families demand swift accountability from the carrier. Turning north to Canada, Prime Minister Mark Carney's freshly tabled Budget 2025 is generating buzz for its ambitious $141 billion infusion over 5 years into green infrastructure, affordable housing, and Indigenous reconciliation projects, balanced by $52 billion in efficiencies like trimming corporate subsidies and the controversial luxury tax on high-end vehicles and yachts. Carney touted it during a Toronto presser as a blueprint for generational progress that shields us from global shocks, but opposition leaders are slamming the deficit projection jump to $78.3 billion Canadian dollars for 2025-26, blaming it on retaliatory measures against U.S. tariffs that have slashed GDP growth forecasts to 1.2% for next year. Heritage Minister Stephen Guilbeault's announcement of a $200 million arts and culture top-up, funding everything from film festivals to Indigenous storytelling initiatives, has drawn applause from creators, though critics question if it'll offset broader telecom competition reforms aimed at capping cell phone bills by 15%. Cross-border woes are intensifying, with Air Canada and WestJet issuing alerts for up to 20% more disruptions on U.S. routes due to the FAA cuts, including extended security queues at Toronto Pearson and Vancouver hubs and reroutes that could add hours to flights. Immigration Minister Mark Miller's new express lane for U.S. H-1B tech workers promises processing in under 30 days, complete with spousal work permits, to lure Silicon Valley talent fleeing shutdown uncertainties and position Canada as North America's AI powerhouse. Environmentally, brutal Arctic storms have grounded 29 flights out of Toronto and Montreal yesterday, with 239 delays cascading into today. Winds gusting over 80 km per hour have also triggered flood warnings along the St. Lawrence River, forcing evacuations in Quebec's Gaspé Peninsula. That's your in-depth pulse on the stories reshaping North America right now, timely insights to navigate the day ahead. If this breakdown kept you one step ahead, smash that like button to show your support, subscribe for these fresh, detailed updates landing in your feed every morning, and fire off a comment below. Which headline is shaking up your world the most today? Thanks for tuning in, catch you tomorrow.